Welcome to Trash Talk. I'm Lane.
I'm D.
And this is Trash Talk for right now. Lane and D. Well, that's fine. There might be some people jumping in.
You got Trash Talk Grape.
Yeah, I got a Wookiee in the background. Might have a cat make an appearance.
I got a painted boot in my background.
That's all that matters. How have you been, D?
Oh, well, actually, I have a pretty funny story that happened to me last week at work. So since that time, I've been crazy busy. We're super short staffed now.
Yeah. Well, explain the story.
Well, we've had a guy that's been a little bit of a problem for a while, and he happens to be best friends with our manager, who got him the job. And it's been long suspected that he doesn't attend meetings. He signs into them on the internet, but he doesn't respond to people calling out his name or anything. And anyways, we had a meeting with him, my manager, and our brand new intern on his second day to get the intern going. And this guy was supposed to kind of somewhat lead the conversation, being he was considered like a senior level person on our team. After the meeting starts, his camera starts and he's butt naked, and he's making phone calls to random people. At one point, I swear to God, he did the whole "what the" thing into a phone.
Nice.
And then he was playing with toys, walking around in his kitchen and stuff, not attending the meeting at all.
What kind of toys?
Huh?
What kind of toys?
Yeah, I don't know, just bullshit, toaster or whatever. He just stuck crap on his kitchen counter.
Oh, okay. I like
just dicking around.
Little model cars or something.
Probably off screen.
Oh man. So did people get videos of it? And
I thought about taking a picture for documentation purposes at work. But because he was naked, I was kind of like, I don't know what the legality is of that, especially I'm on a work computer.
Yeah.
I'm immediately messaging my buddy on the team because him and I were talking about this guy a lot. And he's like, he doesn't believe what's happening and whatnot. And after the end of the meeting, I'm still talking to him. And he's like, you need to tell the boss. And I was like, I don't know how he wouldn't have seen it. So finally I messaged him and I was like, I'm working off the assumption that you saw Billy butt naked walking around in the meeting and blah, blah. And he's like, what? No way. And he was doing the meeting through his phone. So it wasn't on his computer. And I guess he had to talk to the intern, get it confirmed. I could hear the intern snickering the entire time of the meeting. So yeah, it ends up with us having to do an incident report with HR. So that got awkward when she starts asking specific questions like, what could you see? And I had to say butt crack. Yeah. So yeah, my boss called me that night and was like, yeah, we let him go. And, it was just kind of I should have never hired him to begin with. I should have known better. And, but I told him I was thankful that he kind of stepped up to the plate and did the right thing. Cause I was like, I would have had to go to HR myself if you weren't going to do it. And I didn't want to be that guy that was trying to undermine you or something.
Well, it could have happened to anyone, but not really. Not really.
Work literally just sent out an email that long ago, hey, dress like you would for work. You don't have to be in a button up or anything. I'll wear a t-shirt and jeans, but
yeah, look presentable.
But he also had all these issues though, where he got hired a year and a half ago to work on this one project, and now the higher ups are breathing down my boss's neck because it's not done. It's nowhere near done. In the last week and a half, myself and another guy on our team have basically done 90% of the project. And I think he left off at probably 15%. So in a week and a half, we did probably 3 times the amount of work he's done or more in a year and a half. So he had a lot more issues going on than just randomly showing up naked on a video by accident.
Well, do you think he might have done it on purpose then or something?
My boss kind of said something to me that made me wonder about that. And the nature of the way he was too. I mean, I'm not even sure if he was actually on the phone. Just the way he was, he'd hold it up and he wouldn't be looking at the camera, but he'd be and just being really weird.
Maybe
he didn't answer his phone after everything happened either, so they were trying to get a hold of him and be like, dude, what the fuck?
Maybe that's what 2 months of quarantine will do to someone, Start freaking out a little bit. I don't
I guess so.
I mean, you have to think about it like some people are starting to snap from this, right? It's a
I
lot.
guess so.
I mean,
Well, the president snapped this week.
yes, nice segue, Eric. Uh, what was exactly the first tweet, that got labeled as
He had like a two-parter tweet that was talking about mail-in voting and
yeah.
saying how it leads to all this rampant false voting and fraudulent bullshit. And and Twitter was taking a lot of heat coming into this week because he kept putting out all this false information, including the story about the night news host who he's saying killed this girl like 20 years ago.
Oh yeah.
She's some girl. I think she was an athlete, but anyway, she had a heart condition nobody knew about, and her heart gave out or something happened. And while she was in his office, and she fell down, smacked her head on his desk, and died. And now he's claiming that they were having an affair and that he murdered her to cover it up.
Just Trump trying to peddle another conspiracy, essentially.
Yeah. So a bunch of people are freaking out, and just on top of all this other regular bullshit, people are saying like, Twitter, you have these policies in place that if things are fake, you'll flag it and provide resources that are supposed to be the truth, right? And they wouldn't do it, so finally they called him out on the fraudulent or the mail-in voting stuff, and they didn't remove his post or anything. They just flagged it with a link that says, "Here's the correct information," and he freaked out and issued today a presidential order that is probably going to get struck down in the courts. But basically, if you feel that you're being discriminated against by a social media platform like Twitter, then you can file a complaint with the government and they will look into
it. He's here to defend free speech. The gravest dangers it's ever faced in American history.
Yeah, so when somebody corrects his false speech, then that's impeding on his free speech, I guess, in his weird mind.
He's claiming that tech companies have unchecked power to censor, restrict, edit, shape, hide, alter a large sphere of human interaction. They have points of view, he says.
He says that about literally everybody that doesn't agree with him.
I mean, that's kind of the thing, though. Is that really, do they really censor, or is it just a fact or fiction thing, right?
On Twitter, all they did was it put a link down below with text on it that said something to the effect of, "This is proven not true. Here's the resources."
Yeah.
And that was it. They didn't remove his post. His shit was still out there for anybody else that wanted to fucking see it. And the real issue is that on the same day this is all happening, we cross 100,000 deaths from COVID-19 in this country. And that's what he's concerned about, is his Twitter account
getting censored or getting labeled as with censors or whatever, right?
They didn't censor what he said. All he said was, "This is false information. Here's resources that's the truth."
So automatically he wants to. What does he want to do to
guess, Lane, how he announced this?
From his podium right here.
No, on his Twitter account.
Well,
he announced all of this shit before he got on his podium and made his ugly fucking face.
Well, I mean, what does he want to do to them exactly?
Supposedly, I guess this. Okay, he's always saying, "I'm going to open up libel laws." I'm sure he's hoping that this is a route to that. So basically, if there's two departments in the government, I don't remember which ones that are in here, but he's going to have them work together. And if you feel like that you've been discriminated against by a social media platform, you can file a complaint with the government, and they will follow up and potentially represent your case in, I guess, court. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah, at what point can you just walk down the street and say, "Black is the new white," and somebody takes offense then and files a complaint with the government?
Well, that's the thing, though. There's always been rules about, like, freedom of speech, of course, but there's always been rules about what you can say. You can't yell fire in a theater,
Yeah.
things that are detrimental to society. Um, by the way, Vicky says, hi, guys.
Hi, Vicky.
Hey, Vicky. Thanks for watching. Um, Chase will be on later.
I guess there's like an internal debate in the White House right now amongst all the staff. Like some of them are, I guess, in this corner of saying like we shouldn't even present this to the government. Like a lot of people say that there's no way it even passes. Like it's not going to hold up in courts at all. Um, Part of is there was some 1996 law put in place that covers this stuff, and I think he's basically trying to reinterpret that law. And we've got what 24 years of historical precedents.
Well, that's exactly what it's saying. It's been tried before and it's never held or whatever. So he's trying to chip away at Silicon Valley.
If there's a way to get it out of the Ninth Circuit, maybe he's got a shot because he's packed so many judges in that appellate area.
Yeah.
Level of judicialship.
Well, and they all have tax credits and shit for being there. So political theater is what everyone's calling it.
Yeah, well, that entire guy's life is nothing but theater.
Yeah, that's very well point. It's WWE in the White House, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Oh, yeah.
Coming at ya this week, taking on Silicon Valley.
How much longer before he shows up at a presidential speech with a couple AR-15s and start firing them up in the air?
I don't think he could do it. That's the problem.
He'd probably have fake ones, and then somebody else would just get a couple off in the background behind the curtain.
Yeah, I could see him totally wanting like the army to fire some guns off for him.
Oh, he's already asked the army to do stuff like that.
Well, the military.
Had to explain to him like, well, we can't just go around firing shit off above. Like he wants to do it like in the middle of a city and shit, and they're like, no, you can't do that. And it was like been trying to bring in like artillery tanks and heavy equipment like that into like these road areas. They're like, these streets are not made to support these 10-ton vehicles. Like you're gonna tear up the asphalt.
And that's why they're built like that. Essentially, we don't need military parades. So I'm curious though, what do you think about Silicon Valley? Should it be regulated in some way though?
So funny you bring that up. I think that if this stuff does uphold, I think it could be a good thing. But I think what Trump's trying to do though is absolutely asinine, like his version of this.
Yeah.
There is a need to look at the content management on these platforms. And there was a really interesting show all about this, actually. I think it was an Austin Minaj on Netflix, Patriot Act show.
Yeah.
He talked about how basically before the internet, they had these laws in place, and basically it gets split into these two houses. There's people that make the content like a magazine, and a place that distributes the content like any store, right? And the way those laws were set up was as far as that type of who can say what and who can't say things. It was split up because that was the way information was delivered at that time. Somebody made content, somebody then took that content and made it available for people to consume. And I don't know the specifics behind these laws or anything. I believe the general idea is that you can say, do whatever you want within reason. You can't try to pass off a fake story as a real story. You could get sued for that. But as far as like political humor and satire, so that's perfectly fine as long as it's within reason that somebody should understand that it's satire.
Yeah.
And then the content or the people that provide that content, I don't know how the laws affected them, but they could sell whatever. They had something in there where the content people couldn't take certain types of content or magazine or whatever. I think you had to have maybe certain outlets or licenses, probably. I don't know anything about that specifically. When the internet comes along, what the social media platforms has billed themselves as is that they don't write content. Their users provide the content. They're just the establishment. But that's a pretty blurry line as far as that interrelationship in the internet goes. Um, so
They're,
they're a vehicle for that content. They're not just allowing it for distribution, you know?
are they a utility?
Yeah, basically. So there's a whole argument that they need better censorship or at least more mandation that just when something's just fake, you know, it's so easy to bill it off as real on the internet. People are lazy and biased and they want to believe what they want to believe, right? So the gist of the argument is that there needs to be better oversight that says you need to provide in a better manner the truth to false information. And maybe on the flip side, even like things that are the truth, maybe resources.
Yeah. But that's the thing. How can you regulate every post?
Well, they do that now to a degree. They try to look at every post. There's literally people that work in these huge warehouses, or so I think a lot of them work from home, and all they do is look at posts on these social media places and flag them or take them down or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I
I mean,
guess
it's a whole job industry.
when you share something specifically, I suppose, over and over again, it's probably pretty easy to track down.
Well, supposedly, I don't know exactly how it works, but I mean, these people are. The idea is that they look at everything, not an individual person, but as a collective whole. They were supposed to be scanning everything. I mean, they got warehouses set up all over the place.
But that's the thing. They can't just take down hate speech on Twitter.
No, I mean, there's some stuff like nudity. I don't think you can have that on Facebook, so that's
Yeah.
torn down unless you're in a private group. But if you were to post a nude picture on just like your straight wall or whatever, that'll get taken down, and that's not. I'm sure there's to a certain degree bots or whatever that look for that type of stuff and flag it.
The nipple bot.
But they also have real live humans that do it as well. And a lot of what they do is also look at what people write as opposed to just pictures as well. You know, they try to actually get the idea of understanding what's happening. It's actually pretty crazy. There's a whole group of people that are actually standing up for like the rights of these workers because they're going, a lot of them, I guess, it's pretty rampant, go through some crazy mental stress from the sick stuff they see online, more or less.
Oh, I could believe that. Like, just reading everyone's hate comments, you know, on YouTube all day long.
Yeah,
that could drain your soul. You know?
Yeah, a lot of people, there's a pretty high turnover rate. They can't do it that long because it's just, they're like, it's asinine how sick some people are. Yeah. Especially with their online personas.
By the way, Emily Mitchell, the lovely, says, "Hi, Chewy." but just because, okay, so that, yeah, of course they take nudity down. They can't search for hate speech and take that down.
Yeah, they look for that stuff too. And there's certain criteria. They have their own rules that they self-impose, but they might say like, hey, you know, you're talking about, let's say, raping babies and doing things with the bodies, like dumping them in dumpsters or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, that might be something that's worthy of being taken down, but something that's maybe more like not that bad. I don't know what that would be. They might flag it or something to that effect.
But that's the thing. It's like, how does a bot or even a person that's reading a text out of context, what if it's a joke, you know?
Well, and that's the thing when they talk about the self-regulation is that there's such a fine line on stuff like that where, you know, you could say something with the worst intention in your heart and still say, oh, that was just a joke. You know, I don't know. People are just assholes online, and a lot of it's just really honestly gotten out of control. And there's just false information out there too.
Yeah. So what you are saying though is that social media companies should be regulated.
I don't know about removing posts or whatever. I mean, there's something stopping you. I guess if you were saying a lot of bad stuff out in public, you'd probably get arrested by the cops or something. But
yeah, I guess I should define regulating. You know, just like they should have to uphold truth, essentially, I guess, or label things.
Well, yeah, and one of the dangerous things about how social media works, though, too, is all the algorithms they run to present you with whatever comes on your screen, and it's their algorithms basically feed into a loop that you
Mm-hmm.
yourself can easily fall into. Then they find some stuff that you like, it's going to fall into your loop, and until you quit interacting with it, then it will stay in your loop. And the
Yeah.
more you interact with it, the more stuff you see, and it's self feeding. And a lot of people rely on these platforms for news and information, right? Not just for the social context.
Yeah, they have a couple pages they like, you
And
know?
if you fall into some crazy loop that's just feeding you bad information and you're treating it like it's the truth, you know, I to a degree I can't blame some people. I would call them lazy regardless, but you know, if that's basically your only real source of any information in the world, and you put in some stuff for a bad loop, I mean, you're just going to keep getting it, and you're going to fall into this cycle of thinking this is just how the world is,
Yeah.
and I need to believe this because of this bullshit I read that's not even true.
Hmm. So I remember reading this article about someone who set up a whole bunch of like Facebook accounts and would like three things in particularly, like whatever. One was like, they liked a bunch of Christian things, and another one was like they liked a bunch of whatever tree things, green nature stuff. Then, on down the line, different accounts. And then every time they went to Facebook on that account, they'd like the first three things that were like recommended to them, just to feed into that loop you were talking about. And every time liked it and liked it, liked it again or whatever. And just said it was like fascinating how like some of them would kind of like switch what you were like interested into or whatever, cross boundary, and like just like the weird niche that you'd find yourself in then, from just liking three things and then going from there, just crazy to think that you barely need a personality, and Facebook would just give you one essentially.
Yeah, that's true, and I think where it really got slippery for them is when they started using their algorithms for advertisements, because what they're selling to these businesses is that, hey, we know what these people like, and we can place your ads to the people that like that. And it is pretty reliable as far as advertising goes, but it's got this whole other, it's like a double edged sword. There's a whole other side to it that gets into this whole social distortion thing. Then it's a slippery slope, and you
What
know, I would
what do you
say,
mean what do you mean by that? Distorting social distortion?
yeah, just these fucking loops you can fall into where basically all the content you're being provided is just completely false information or all hate. I mean, it could be all good. I mean, I use most of my social media honestly to follow the Chiefs. So almost anything I get is Chiefs related or sports, and then I get some politics stuff.
Yeah. Huh. Well, yeah, there's good things that could be out of it, but like,
Well, they could be good stuff too. So I like to use it for the Chiefs. I don't really. I mean, you see me on Facebook. I don't really post jack shit unless it's on our page for trash talk.
no, I don't even see that. So, um, I'm glad I don't use Facebook, man. It's just like it's worthless, you know?
Yeah, it kind of is. I enjoy Twitter because it's fun. If you're, for me, like I said, if you're following sports teams, I can follow players, and yeah, I just get a lot of fun stuff. And I follow some cooking people too. But I mean, my dad was asking about
Right.
Twitter. I told him, like, Jordan and I, my brother, we both use it to follow the Chiefs for the most part. So he's like, cool, maybe I'll start a profile and start doing that too. Well, he follows that, and now he like posts all this fucking right wing bullshit all the time too.
Of course, of course. You do both, So here's the $1 million question. Are we going to be flagged because we're streaming on Facebook right now, talking about them doing this? You know, I don't know.
Right now,
Say that again.
cooking his meats, as he likes to say. Mark Zuckerberg, he likes to cook meats, and he'll tell you all about it. He's probably doing that right now, watching this.
Does he like cook human meats? Metaphorically, you know?
Probably. Have you seen that guy? He looks like Spock.
Yeah, he looks like kind of a weird Hannibal Lecter type. You
Yeah,
know,
he's all pale, pasty, and
man, I wonder
he
what.
almost looks like he could be slimy.
Yeah, do you think he'll look like the same in 20 years?
He'll be more machine than man.
We do have the technology for that, so yeah, he'll be more. He'll be the first cyborg, right?
He kind of already is. He looks like a fucking cyborg.
He would be the first one to like get the Facebook chip implanted into his brain skull, and then convince everyone that we need to join his Borg. You know,
No, no. That's what Bill Gates is doing with the COVID-19 cure.
this is true. This is true. We all know that. So this is why we're going to get flagged, Eric. But all right,
People
well,
need to know the truth.
the truth is out there, and right now I need a beer. Sorry.
I want to believe. So, how do you feel about the election, presidential election coming up? And how, if Trump loses, and I honestly don't think he will, I think that there's going to be a shitstorm, and I think he's going to win.
Well, if he can
But if
suppress,
he loses, what do you think will happen?
there could
Do you
be
think he
some.
leaves the White House?
No, I don't think he would. And then it just gets iffy. Like it's supposed to be like the National Guard or something supposed to go in there and take him out, but
That'd be awesome. I hope that happens.
yeah, like on a stretcher or strapped in like Hannibal Lecter, tweeting.
He's too fat for that.
No, they got
That'd
some.
be better if they just had a beat him with billy clubs or something, batons.
Yeah, like what about they just roll him up in a carpet?
Maybe it'd be like if it's a DC National Guard, then there's a good chance it'd be a majority African American, and that would be awesome to see.
It's just the National Guard. I mean, it's national, man. You know.
Well, I think the National Guard, I believe, is each state has its own National Guard.
Okay.
So there's the Nebraska National Guard, Iowa National Guard.
They don't communicate to each other.
Oh, I'm sure they do. I'm sure there's some sort of federal oversight to a degree, but the National Guard isn't. I believe its primary thing is it'll serve with like the Army or whomever. You can get deployed overseas, but I think the primary responsibility is to the state that they work for or represent.
It's like the state's militia.
Yeah, pretty much. So that's why the National Guard gets deployed during like state disasters. Like when there's flooding in Texas, it's Texas National Guard, and you might get other states nearby as well that might send troops.
So, but does DC have a National Guard? It's not a state.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's gonna have to be federal, man. Like people are gonna travel for that. Wouldn't like, honestly, if he got hauled out, like the National Guard, would we not go to Washington to like party? Oh shit.
Are you saying that if he loses, you want to go to DC and watch his last day in office and see what happens live?
Yeah, I mean, not.
Can you
No,
imagine?
we already know what.
What do you think? I bet you. Let's say he loses. All right. How much do you want to bet that Las Vegas is going to be taking bets on what will happen? I mean, there's going to be news coverage of people like helicopters flying down and watching every window and door they can from the exterior and getting leaked information. Oh, he's blowing up. All right. Is he going to make do this, or is he going to lock the front door?
Yeah,
He's holed up in the Oval Office.
we can see him through the curtains. We might have someone trying to add themselves in here. But yeah, dude, it would be great. I think wouldn't there just be like parties in the street? Like every state would go like, mecca towards it or whatever.
Well, Texas would probably finally leave the union.
So see, that's
Um,
also what I was curious. Like, if he loses, could a civil war break out?
well, I wouldn't put it past this country with its current state of affairs.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, then it's just like, how do you even know what's going to happen, right?
That's where Las Vegas comes in. You make your money.
Well,
You should see if they're taking bets right now. I'm gonna look this up.
I'm sure it's on already gambling for like, what to watch or whatever for if Trump wins or loses. Here he is, this motherfucker. What's up, Naked Jeff?
Hey, what's up?
We're just talking about the odds of Trump losing and what he's going to do and react, or what if he wins?
There's a whole bunch of bets you can make on Trump right now, apparently.
Really? Where?
Let's hear Vegas's odds.
There's mybookie.ag. There was sportsbettingdime.com, betfair.com. Trump. A lot of them are impeachment odds.
Yeah.
I bet maybe a little closer to the time they just put up odds near the election, because you don't even know the odds, like I'm saying right now.
Well, you sort of do. I mean, they're doing national poll. Or are you just saying like Vegas's odds for
Can you trust the polls right now, though? I mean, look what happened last presidential election.
I totally agree.
It's a lot steeper this time around.
Yeah, and I read an article the other day that said Biden is like way ahead of where Hillary was at this time in the campaign in 2016.
I don't mean shit.
I know it doesn't mean shit at all. Like polls don't mean shit. You know, people can say they're gonna vote, but if they don't vote, it don't mean nothing.
Yeah. So the only way I say Trump can win if he suppresses the mail-in ballot vote.
I don't think that's the only way, right? Like that article that I was talking about earlier said that like 77,000 votes decided the election last year. You know, spread out among a few different states. You know, and Trump obviously hasn't broadened his base at all, but who's to say that it's diminished? You know, like his handling of COVID-19 is, you know, some polls show him losing ground with older Americans, but at the end of the day, like, you know, they haven't even really started campaigning yet. Like, wait till all the smear campaign stuff starts happening. Like, it'll shift.
What type of campaigns are we going to see, though? Trump's not going to take anybody on in a debate unless it's on his terms, which basically means it's not a debate; it's a sideshow.
Yeah,
other than that, it's going to be him doing rallies.
No, I'd like to see Trump and Biden virtual debate. I mean, why aren't they doing it already?
Because 100,000 people just died of COVID-19.
Yeah, he didn't even mention it. He had to go get Twitter beef with Twitter.
Yeah. That's what we're talking about now. I didn't know he signed an executive order today.
Yeah, which, you know, I don't know. It doesn't really direct their like day-to-day operation or affect their day-to-day operations, but you know, it just makes them
file a complaint with the government now if you feel like you've been discriminated against by a social media platform.
Yeah, you can bring a lawsuit. You know, it's just kind of, I don't know. It'll go through the court system. It'll be interesting how it turns out.
It would just tie the courts up even more, though.
If they are allowed to bring the lawsuits?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Went through. There's so many friggin' crazy nut people that are just, yeah. I'm going to sue the shit out of them because I was fucking cooking babies on live on YouTube and they didn't like that.
Right.
I saw some cleavage online. Now I'm suing them.
Yeah, I don't see how it'd be any different than like being in a restaurant and you're being obnoxious and loud and them asking you to leave, you know?
That's kind of what we were saying earlier. You know, people can conduct themselves in such different manners online than they do in person. Yeah, totally different personalities, even.
Yeah.
And
Oh, for sure.
you know, with the way people consume information off that stuff now, you can't treat it like it's just this closed space. It's not.
Right.
I mean, it's like if you had to say something you wrote online to the person in the, you know, the flesh, would you actually have said that what you wrote or whatever? You know, most likely not.
Yeah.
So that's just the world we live in.
Right.
Do you think that social media should be regulated, censored,
To what extent?
or
I mean,
should they have the power to censor?
of course, it's a private platform. Like it's not public, you know what I mean? Like
I mean,
it's it's not like Trump's Twitter feed that's an actual extension of a government office, you know what I mean? Like this
well,
is a
he uses the presidential account.
It makes it even worse when you think about it in that context.
right, but that's what that one court case was all about, whether Trump could block, you know, followers or whatever. And the court ruled that he couldn't because it was an extension of the office.
Hmm.
But I mean, I don't think people should be able to go on there and spread absolute false lies, you know what I mean? Passing them off as truths, you know what I mean?
It should just be
I
flagged.
think what Twitter did on Trump's tweet this week was a good thing. They didn't take it down. All they did was provide a link with text that said, "Hey, this is false information. Here's resources on the truth."
Yeah, totally. Like, I mean, what more do you want?
Yeah, if you said something false and somebody corrected you in real life, are you going to deck them in the face? I mean, maybe, but you're an asshole.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think it just shows Trump knows he's lying, you know what I mean? Like, and he has so many followers, and if they actually see the truth underneath his tweet, like the fucking mirage goes away.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like if
Well, I'm a little bit about that.
it's like someone commented on it and, you know, gave him the facts, but it's actually there. You can't hide or delete that comment, you know?
It's
Right,
not
it's
buried in hundreds of other comments.
correct.
Hmm.
And I mean, like we said earlier, we're not trying to change every, you know, that 40% of America's mind. We're trying to change 77,000 minds.
Yeah. So that's the question though. It's like, how do they regulate every tweet? Are they going to do that to everyone's tweets?
I don't think you got to regulate stuff. I mean, if you find that something's just blatantly false, you should be able to somehow connotate that to people.
Yeah.
Just like we said earlier, so many people literally treat social media as a news source.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can post links, stories, and stuff and use it in that sense, but anybody can say anything. That's your freedom of speech, but you should also be made aware of if somebody is lying or just absolutely wrong on something too.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, people go out of their way to go and research everything. You know, it's just not human nature. You can't just say, well, you go research it yourself. You know what? People don't do that. It's proven time and time again. Unless you give it to them up front, they're not going to find it. It was just the type of shit I deal with in my job all the time is, you know, you can't assume people are just going to go about doing things the way you want them to do it. It's human nature.
Yeah. People are idiots. You have to assume they're an idiot.
Yeah, pretty much.
So would they only have to like regulate, you know, the top 500 trending things or whatever on Twitter? Or they need to be doing
Like I said, man, they have whole basically warehouse factories of people that do that shit.
But that means they regulate every tweet.
Yeah. All the way down to you and I. You know what I mean? Like, because if you're just looking at celebrities and you're, you know, whatever, the top 50 users, like, how are you ever going to catch all the bots that are spreading all the shit?
Yeah.
Well,
I feel like Twitter purged all those bots a year or two ago. You know, shit, was it in the millions? Like, just tons of false accounts, you know, and people set them up just to fucking spread false information.
How do they prove that it's a bot?
They can follow basically email accounts they're associated with, and then ipso factor back to servers, and through the server you can find out quite a bit of information.
Well,
And you can also look to at a lot of those bot accounts. They're not even like filled out hardly. They just set up a username, password, and whatever bare information they need to get it going, and then it just starts spreading information.
yeah.
And if you got a bot network you're running, you can make all your bots like, follow, whatever your other bots. All of a sudden, you got a following, which increases your influence.
And you can
Odds
like,
of being shown on somebody's timeline.
Jesus, you can write an algorithm for that.
It's the other way
You can
around.
write an algorithm for anything.
What?
Wait till supercomputers are like regular. I mean, we've got a handful of them now, and they're not even at the quantum level. We got quantum computers that they're in their infancy,
Well,
but they're saying we're getting real fucking close.
The
Wait till that
military has
happens.
them. Doesn't the military have them though?
There's colleges that have them. I'm sure the military has one, but they're all like they're not true quantum computers. Yeah, they do quantum calculations, but the problem right now isn't a technological issue. To a degree, it is. The biggest issue with our current hardware, we can't keep it cool enough. The shit will melt down with the speed of the information that goes inside of there. You know, it's electrical signals. So much of that's going on in that quantum computing that it will melt down our hardware unless you can keep it super cold. So all those quantum computers we have now are literally sitting in liquid nitrogen vats.
Wow. But so
at least the processors are.
Will there be like quantum Twitter accounts then that can just like?
Well, as far as algorithms and stuff, if you think that they can track, follow, influence, whatever with you now, when you get to a quantum level of computing power on that, it's going to be insane. I don't even know what that means, but it's going to be insane.
Yeah. Vicky said she's got post pulled because the monitor people are on Facebook are idiots. Pretty soon everything will be monitored. Vicky already is.
Yeah. Thanks for your comment.
Yes, thank you, Vicky.
I think it's already all being monitored.
Exactly. It's like it's on the internet. It's always on stored somewhere. You know? Nothing, I feel like everything that's ever been on the internet is stored. Nothing has ever been disappeared. Just with the dark web and shit.
Yeah, I mean, just look at all the data farms springing up around Omaha. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah,
that shit is being stored and locked down. It's there forever.
The thing too is like even when you're not on Facebook or Snapchat or Instagram, sometimes your cameras can turn on.
Well, yeah, I mean,
there's a lot of people that work put tape over their camera lens on their laptops.
Yeah. But I mean, like most phones have a personal assistant nowadays, right?
Yep. Hey Google, turn my lights on.
Exactly. So your phone is constantly listening to you. It's looking for that cue, you know what I mean? So the mic has to be on.
Yeah, it's getting monitored. You're being monitored
all the time. Whether it's your voice, your geolocation, whatever. They're somebody, whoever they is, whether it's Google or whoever, somebody's watching you.
So then that's the question: is Facebook or Google going to start regulating you? Because they're regulating.
As far as what?
Like,
aren't they already?
They give you like your recommendations and, you know, things to buy or whatever. But like,
my Google Pixel's already blowing up right now with fucking news bullshit and sports articles right now. As you're saying that.
Yeah, of course it wants you to listen. Hey, Derek, start reading something else. Don't talk about this shit. No, but what I was trying to say was that, I mean, it's listening and recording. Is it going to somehow change your perspective? Like, instead of
I had
linking or flagging your comment, is it going to like start recommending the right things or, you know, a certain agenda to you?
Let's hope not. Like, cause remember a couple years ago when that thing came out that Facebook was messing with their algorithm and showing you things on purpose, and everybody got freaked out because it was like the biggest fucking
Yeah, it wasn't what you wanted. It was what they wanted you to see or whatever.
Well, but yeah, they're like brainwashing you. You know what I mean? Like basically showing you the same shit over and over and over again, trying to change your mind or make you feel a certain way. Like
Yeah,
that's scary as fuck. I mean, I think that's why so many people distrust the media, right?
definitely. For sure. Hey, Doug, don't go to bed. You can join. Love to hear some opinions from you. Always welcome on. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's weird situation.
Definitely.
You're back.
Hi.
Hey, D.
Welcome to Trash Chat.
So, final comments on regulating Twitter and Trump's executive order.
I just want some truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Executive order is bullshit.
Political theater.
Yeah. We crossed 100,000 deaths this year in COVID-19. Not a peep from him. He's concerned about his Twitter feed. That's all you need to know on that.
I'd like to know, is the WWE considered political theater as well?
No.
I don't know, man. They've had like, Saudis and well, they actually go to
Yeah.
Saudi Arabia too.
I think it's strictly theatrical.
Just theater, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe a little politics.
It's behind the scenes.
Yeah, you don't really, if you don't think WWE isn't political, you don't know where Undertaker stands on a lot of things, I guess.
And you don't know about Owen Hart.
Yeah, you don't.
Because he's dead?
Well, he got killed because of the politics.
No, that was Brett.
Oh shit! Sorry,
God,
I get them confused.
get out of here.
Brett's not dead.
Yeah, huh? Brett was one that fell off the thing, right?
Yeah,
No.
Brett the
Brett
Hitman
had
Hart.
a leg injury. He was out of wrestling for like a year or two, and he came back.
No, Brett the Hitman Hart was the one that
Yeah, the Hitman Hart.
fell
Brett
off the top of the cage and broke his neck and died.
That was Owen Hart.
Somebody needs to fact check this.
I'm looking it
Facebook?
up right now.
I
Tell
got
me
it.
Facebook.
Hart, dead. Died in
Oh.
1999.
It was Owen.
I had it right first time, Lane.
I know. Sorry, I fucked
This is
that
why
up.
we're flagging you, Lane, because you're false information.
You guys, I told you I was an Undertaker fan, so God damn it.
So you just lie your way through life to
Yeah,
support
you
the
know what?
Undertaker.
Whatever. Fucking regulate me, you know?
Yeah, he's like
Slack.
try and
Why do you
fact check
file a
me. I
complaint
lie
with
so
the
much.
government?
I want Mark Zuckerberg to be watching us with his little like fucking
Android face.
yeah, he probably like even like has like this little visor he wears or something. I can just see him sitting underneath a TV screen like fucking
With a sex attachment.
yeah.
Or is it more like Batman when it's that whole screen of like everybody in the universe or everybody in Gotham talking?
Yeah, but he doesn't like turn his head, he just turns his whole body.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty realistic. So Trump signed this executive order today. It won't pass, right? Why are we talking about this?
Well, it's
Well,
not. He doesn't have to pass, but the courts might turn it down.
Right.
Yeah.
It's an executive order. It's good from the time he signs it.
Well, good for what though? What's it doing? It has the
So he instructed the FCC to
There's two departments that it involves.
SEC and the FCC.
I don't recall an F acronym, but I can look real fast.
Anyways, he instructed one of the departments that he's in charge of to scrutinize these companies to see whether their actions, either make them eligible.
That are trying to or penalize them for purely political reasons. Basically,
like, but it wasn't worded like that. It was They want to look to make sure that all these platforms are being neutral and that they're not jeopardizing their status, their protected status under that, whatever it is, the 230 statute or whatever it is.
It's the FCC regulator turning the FCC into president's speech police.
Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, if Twitter fact checks him and he doesn't like it, then all of a sudden their protected status is gone, and now anybody under the sun can sue them.
It says that the FCC and the FTC expressed great concerns. The speech police.
Yeah, but I mean, Ajit Pai, the motherfucker from the FCC, he's Trump's appointee. Like he's one of Trump's puppets.
Yeah, and that.
Yeah, didn't he come over from Verizon Wireless and help get that legislation passed to give them basically an effective monopoly on a bunch of shit?
That he rolled back net neutrality, like all that.
Well, and it all started because he was trying to block mail-in ballots.
Yeah, that's how the fact check happened. They checked him because he said something about California, I think.
So,
And
but that's the thing. Why was that the tweet that set him off finally? There's been plenty.
No, I think that's the first time
that people are getting pissed off at Twitter because they're not following their own guidelines and regulations or whatever that they impose on everybody else on him.
Yeah, this is the first time that they've ever put that little whatever footnote underneath his tweet.
Under anyone or his?
His.
Huh.
Like we were saying earlier, he's been tweeting about that guy that he claims had an affair and killed that chick 19 years ago.
Yeah. That dude, Joe Scarborough, the MSNBC dude.
So why didn't they put anything about that one?
I don't know.
Well, I think it was the tipping point because so many people were like, listen, you guys have been not doing what you do to everybody else for him. And now he's making up accusation of somebody murdering somebody. And you're not going to flag that. So I think they probably just finally said, well, fuck it. And I'm sure they've been avoiding it for this very scenario that's happening. Twitter and Facebook stocks fell a lot today.
I don't know why, though, because Zuckerberg came out and said, we won't fact check the president. It's like they're competing for his business.
All of it, though, is open under that law or executive order.
Right.
So you could go right now and be offended on Facebook, I guess, and file a lawsuit. What a fucking android.
Look at him.
Is the guy a robot already?
Yeah, he's gonna be a cyborg for sure.
So I know we're talking about these tweets and everything, but on the same subject, did you see his latest controversial tweet? Trump, yeah.
No.
He retweeted these. What's that?
What did he say?
He retweeted these. It's this group. I think it's called Cowboys for Trump or some shit like that.
Oh, yeah, and they talked about only good Democrats, a dead Democrat, and he said thank you or something like that.
Yeah, motherfucker retweeted that. Retweeted the video or the tweet of the only good Democrat is a dead Democrat. Like what?
Like, yeah, he didn't even say it right. It's a Democrat with a P at the end. Everybody knows that.
No, libtard, Democrat. I mean, whatever. But like, holy fuck, the man is like literally inciting violence against his opponents. Like,
he's been inciting violence since violence was violence. Violence.
This is like insane, though. Like
that's Snopes. Yeah, that's you believe Snopes or whatever, but that happened. So,
I mean, go to fucking Twitter. Go look it up for yourself.
No, it's here. I found it. I kind of want to like.
And the sad part is, though, is he's also tweeted other things, and then people. Perfect example. Those people taking Clorox and ingesting it or putting it into their veins. Somehow right after he said, "Why don't you just or Lysol? Why don't you just put Lysol in your veins? That'll cure anything." Some people went out and fucking did that, and they had a fucking Lysol came out and said, "Don't do that."
I know,
People
right?
will listen to anything that guy says.
I had a conversation with this dude at work about that. He was like, I don't really believe he said that. I was like, it's on video. And he's like, what if it's a fake video? I was like, okay, well, why would Clorox and Lysol come out and say, please don't ingest or inject our products? Well, I mean, probably because of the media. It's just like, all
Wow.
right, dude. All right.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that just refuse to acknowledge that the guy's asinine.
Right.
Well, I mean, think about it, though. The times we live in, can you really blame people?
Yes.
Yeah,
Just
you
admit
can.
just admit when you're wrong. Like, I mean, admit when your
Yeah,
guy
that's
fucks up.
exactly what that comes down to.
Right.
There's so many people that are just like, I think there's a lot of people that know that he's a mistake,
No,
but they
Derek.
just refuse because of hubris to come out and say, "Oh, well, no, he's right. I couldn't have possibly voted for the wrong person. I didn't like Hillary, but
It's
that guy's a fucking wacko."
it's the
Right.
same thing we talked about earlier, though. It's the news loop. You don't see the stuff that's criticizing the disinfectant. You just see Trump saying,
Well, and
nothing.
then as much as you hear that everything's fake nowadays, even when you see the truth, you're questioning it.
For real. Like, I question shit all the time. Like, I don't know. Like, it's sad, right? Like, I've fallen into that trap that the media is bad.
You've
But
got a loop. You've got the loop too, right?
well, sort of. But I mean, like I said, I try to listen to the radio. I try to read multiple news sources. Like,
The
but
same article in different places or whatever.
right. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I read 2 hours of Fox News every day, but I do read their headlines and maybe the first few paragraphs of their articles, like just enough
Before
to get.
you're crying too hard from laughing that you can't even read anymore because your tears are in the way.
I just get frustrated. It's just like, oh my God, like I just don't understand how they can spin it in that kind of way. Like, I mean, just simple decency things like making sure all Americans are protected and taken care of. Like, we don't even want to do that.
Yeah. Well, they'll just take the exact same story of like someone crushes someone in a debate, the other side will say, oh, eviscerates the other side in the debate, and it's like the exact same article, but just different sides.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and like, the radio I listen to, NPR, like I think that's some of the most unbiased news you can get. But even when you listen to that, you still can hear it in their voice sometimes. You know which side they're for.
Yeah, exactly. It's the context they also put on things, like should have done this or this would be
Right.
the way to do it. So
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of it is subliminal, right? I don't know that they actually know that they're doing it, but like a lot of these issues or whatever are personal for people, so I think it's difficult to cut that off. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Or at least be cognizant of it at all times.
So I'm not totally diverting from subject, but I am going off of script, Derek. Sorry. But there was this documentary I watched recently called Planet of the Humans. I think it was Jeff Gibbs, produced by Michael Moore. And it was talking all about the green movement in the culture nowadays, about how solar and wind are such a small fraction of renewables, and how actually biomass is the large percentage of it. And it showed how there's all sorts of like venues or cities or corporations saying that they're 100% renewable energy, even though they're plugged into the grid most of the time and are, actually running hardly any actual energy on renewables. And the only renewable they probably are using, because it's classified as a renewable, classified, is biomass, which is essentially wood chips.
Or trash, any kind of trash.
But most of biomass is wood chips
So
currently.
basically, coal.
No, forests. Just a forest getting cut down and used as biomass.
Is that really what's happening though?
Yes, it is. There's hundreds of colleges across the nation that are on 100% renewable, but it's just a boiler room and they're burning wood chips.
I'm aware of the biomass thing. But like from everything that I've heard, they're not going and cutting new trees to burn.
Well, they can't. There aren't no trees to burn. They're cutting existing trees. I don't.
Hmm.
What sucks right now too, and this is why I kind of brought it up, was that I saw it was censored recently. It's off of YouTube. It was up for about a month, and now it's offline because someone filed a copyright claim, which is like they used a video or a clip of something that they didn't have permission for. Just kind of bullshit because it's like you don't take something fully down for that. You leave it up and just cover up that one image or whatever it is. But this is what I'm talking about, censoring in a bad way, right?
Is it bad though? Like,
Is it information they don't want out?
how do you know that it was a copyright? How do you know that there wasn't false information in that video?
That is what I read about in multiple articles, that it was a copyright and that there's like it shouldn't have been a copyright from the editor, author, or whatever, and that they're working to get it back up. But it's like it shouldn't even take that long to get it back up,
That's what I'm saying. You're a video guy. Like, you know that they could go in there, snip that part out, and put it back together in a day or two.
So they're being censored because it's information that they don't want out.
Or is the video bullshit? Like,
No,
I mean, so this is the
good
thing.
research.
I know, but here's the thing, is like, on one hand, we're okay, or we like the idea of Facebook and Twitter being censored, but YouTube crosses the line.
Yeah, it's how many people get misinformation from YouTube? Like flat Earth is huge on YouTube.
Right. Like, that's what I mean. Like, I think the disinformation is everywhere. Like, and I don't know. I would like to, I guess where I stand is like, I would like to think the people running these platforms are unbiased, but as I say that, I know that's probably fucking crazy.
Their companies are like diverse just as well, They need the
get it.
money.
Yeah.
They're invested in fossil fuels and they're invested in, fucking Apple. So,
Yeah.
Emily Mitchell says they just need to pay to use it.
Oh, so you can pay and watch it?
I guess. I didn't hear that. It was free on YouTube. That was the whole point of it. I thought it had gotten taken down because of the. I'll fucking look it up. Because maybe it got changed now. Maybe they did fix it. And if it is fixed, I want to know because it was. Dude, it was a fucking.
Lane, I think you got a glitch. So I'm wondering what is the documentary actually cover? Is it saying that places are claiming to be 100% renewable energy resource users and they're not? Or is the issue that they're using a renewable resource but they're chopping down trees to do so, which then take years to be grown big enough to be reused again? And I'm by myself. So I'm assuming people actually saw and heard about the George Floyd news this week. He was the man in Minneapolis that was murdered by police when he was suspected of providing or procuring fake dollar bills and passing them off at a store. Currently, it appears that is not true.
What's that?
I was just trying to fill time by talking about some of our topics coming up.
Where'd Jeff go? Oh, here he's back all of a sudden. What's up?
Hey, well, you like kicked me out.
Sorry, I got kicked off, and apparently Jeff got kicked off. So it was just Derek for a little while.
Yeah, I was sitting backstage. I was like, oh fuck, Lane must got kicked out too.
That's funny. Oh, wait a second. Use that. So, what were you talking about, Derek?
I was bringing up George Floyd.
Oh, you moved on?
Well, we can. I paused my camera for a bit because I didn't know what to do it for a second. Everybody was gone.
Yeah.
I think I finished with "Well, I'm by myself" and blacked out for a second.
That's great. Doug.
We should have taken a break. It was just time.
Yeah. I mean, I got up and peed while my internet was resetting. So
Either that or we were being censored. One of the two.
Oh, no shit. Derek was the only one that didn't say anything wrong, so he got to stay.
He was pretty quiet that whole time.
Well, I'm a Mark Zuckerberg supporter, and I've been throwing money into his presidential campaign.
You own Facebook stock? Is that it?
Hey, Mark.
Are you friends with him?
Mark?
Yeah.
Yeah, way back.
Well, I didn't know because like on MySpace, Tom was like everyone's friend. I figured you could find Mark right on Facebook probably.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I think Trash Talk will like him. So.
We call him Skid Mark, his friends.
Nice. All right. But anyway, I want to tell you about just finish up that Planet of the Humans movie.
All right.
I mean, I was done.
Well, I had a quick question.
Yeah.
And I brought this up while you guys were off. So, what exactly is the issue? Is it that they're claiming that they're renewable energy users, but they're just burning trees? Or is it that they use partial renewable resources, being trees, and then they're blanket stating that they're all of a sudden 100% renewable energy users?
I think the problem comes from the fact that it's not carbon-free energy, right? Like you're still burning things and adding to the problem.
Gotcha.
But I don't know. Lane got kicked out again. He's censored.
Well, look at his hat. Who wouldn't censor that?
Oh, poor guy.
So have you looked into any of those energy resources? Not even resource. The single, I think it's called a toroidal engine. It takes a decent amount of energy to start up, but once it's going, it creates more energy than it consumes.
Yeah.
And, there's been multiple patents attempted on this technology, and every time somebody registers a new patent for it, the government supposedly comes in and tears up all their research or whatever they've built at home and whatnot.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard stories like that. I mean, that sounds like the water engine also, right? Like pull over to the side of the road, fill your thing up with water, and there's been a... Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying, yeah, I've heard of that, hydrogen fusion.
Right.
Like that.
Yeah, I mean, so like on one hand, I would say that I don't believe in that, because if that were true, I think it would be such an economic advantage to the US to have technology like that. But then on the other hand, I think about all the, big oil companies and everything that touches. And it's like, well, maybe, just like cars, we couldn't get electric cars forever because of the same issue.
There were water engines. When I was in grade school, they actually had us watch a whole video about it. I don't know if you guys ever had Channel 1 News growing up.
But yeah, Channel 1 News? Hell yeah.
Yeah, they had a whole segment on engines that run on water. And at the time, it worked. It wasn't practical, because I don't think it had a very good range. But that was people building that shit out of their garages. and I've never heard anything about it really since. Maybe it was something that wasn't practical enough, and maybe we won't be able to come up with technology, or it didn't progress enough, or whatever. But I mean, I literally saw that stuff though. It was broadcast to us in school.
Right, and that's I guess that's what I'm more alluding to is like if it's a great viable technology, you know, like we live in a capitalist society, like market forces should always, you know, prevail, but I do understand the beginning question that it was being stifled.
Lane, what does Michael Moore have to say about that?
I don't even know what you guys are talking about.
Tell him, D.
We were talking about energy resources, and I mentioned the toroidal engines that people have supposedly made and tried to get patents for, and the U.S. government has ran into their houses or their labs or whatever and destroyed their work.
You're talking free energy stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, 0 point. Yeah, that is being stifled. That technology out there, it's Tesla technology, you know, not the company Elon Musk style, Nikola Tesla, the inventor from the 1900s. So, yeah, that's
We got something for you.
That's out there.
I thought he was gonna fart in the camera.
Yeah, I thought it was going to too.
There you go.
Wait,
Who's that?
Hold on.
Tesla, look at that.
Oh, fuck, hold on. Jesus.
What are you doing? There we go. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Where'd you get that?
At Niagara Falls, bitch.
Oh, yeah. Because that's where his statue is, right?
Why?
Yeah, there's a statue. I was at Niagara Falls last year. I was in Buffalo, New York for work, and we took a big tour out to Niagara Falls, which is where he set up the dam to electrify all of the northern and eastern seaboard.
Okay.
Dude, he created the dams that power every city around the world.
Well, not around. Yeah, he's the first one to do what he did there. Yeah, I was actually surprised when I went there. One of the guys on my team, him and I went, and when we were going, I was super excited. I was like, "Oh man, Nikola Tesla!" And I just keep going off about Nikola Tesla. And finally, he's like, "What's the big deal with Nikola?" And I was like, "Dude, we're going to Niagara Falls." And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, he's the one that built the dam to get to capture the water energy and electrify it for the eastern seaboard. And he's like, I don't even know who he is. And then I just come to find out, like, nobody knew who he was. And when you go and do the tour, though, before you go out into the falls, they have this really cool room they put you in, like a small theater with a bunch of fun stuff you can play with. And they show a quick, 5-minute film all about Nikola Tesla and what he did with the dam. And I was just blown away by how many people recognized the name, had no idea who he was, let alone he had anything to do at all with Niagara Falls.
Yeah. So the statue of him at Niagara Falls is the only statue memorial mention of him in the entire United States. There's not another single thing about him.
Really?
Yeah, his old warehouse is still locked up or whatever, run down, it's just abandoned. There might have once been a museum there, but it's been closed down. There's no memorial plaque or anything about him. The only thing is at Niagara Falls. The inventor of everything.
Thomas Edison had him erased.
Yeah, pretty much.
The only reason Thomas Edison won the electrical wars is because Nikola Tesla wanted to do everything for free.
Right. Well, it wasn't for free. They had a contract that he would do so much work or complete a project and then pay him, and he never did.
Well, when I say free, his whole thing was he had found a way to harness static energy, just inert energy in the air.
Out of the aqueduct.
And he was trying to figure out a way how to basically add that into a grid.
Yeah. But he did win the war.
Want that, though. They wanted to make money off of free power.
But Tesla did win the war. Tesla won the war, right? He had DC.
No, it's the other way.
He was alternating, yeah. And he won because that's what we use. There's alternating current everywhere.
Right, but nobody knows that. Nobody knows that
He
fucking
invented radio.
Tesla's. Nobody knows that Tesla is the one that actually invented the light bulb. He invented it while he was working for Edison.
Yeah.
Come on, Lane, get some better internet.
Tesla had a really cool quote. I don't know the quote perfectly, but I believe he was asked something about his process of inventing stuff, and I guess he was kind of known for a lack of not research per se, but you build like blueprints for stuff, right? But there's probably a lot of research and documentation that goes into that final blueprint, right? He never had that research and stuff. He said, I invented it all in my mind and tested every scenario in my mind first. That way I knew that the first time I built something, it would work.
Yeah. Yeah, he did a lot of his work down in Colorado Springs.
He had a base out in Colorado, in Springs, wasn't it? For a long time.
Yeah.
And they had that whole incident with the, God, he was up on that huge hill and he was building those Tesla towers. And was it like a massive thunderstrike he was able to like summon basically?
Yeah, it's
blew the power
crazy.
out of the town for a minute.
Yeah, it's something like that. When I was going through the electrical apprenticeship out there, they talked about him a lot.
Yeah, he's one of my favorite scientists, like him and probably Da Vinci.
Yeah, yeah. What do you what do you think about SpaceX's first human launch?
I thought they didn't do it today.
No, they scrubbed it. I think it was supposed to happen yesterday, wasn't it? And it didn't. And then
Yesterday
maybe
or today, I think. Well, I don't want to say I think. Yeah, yesterday or today, they had some weather. The issue basically was they could have waited 15 or 20 minutes, and the weather would have been fine. But the cooling they use for the fuel propellant, it needs to be super cooled, and if it's not at a certain temperature, that it exponentially increases failure rates.
right.
And the longer it sits, the warmer it gets.
Yeah, that's actually what happened in one of their blowups. That fucking fuel or whatever you're talking about, that shit exploded.
Yeah. Hey, while we're talking about electricity, you're a journeyman now?
Finally.
Yeah?
Only in Nebraska. Thanks, buddy.
I still for you.
Yeah.
There you
Cheers. Go. I still got to get my Iowa license, but I got one down.
Well, so if you're a journeyman in Nebraska, what does that mean if you want to get it in Iowa? Do you have to like start from the ground up there, or is it expedited?
I mean, I got my prerequisites or whatever you want to call it for the test. I just have to take another state exam to get licensed there.
Anything really different from Nebraska to Iowa?
No, and it sounds silly, but I think Iowa's test is like 88 questions for some 88 questions. It's timed test, but it's all open book. So, I mean, it doesn't sound like that big of a deal, but I mean, a lot of it's a lot of math, calculations and stuff like that.
I'm sure.
But it's cool. I mean, like I said, I cruised through the first one, so I'm sure the second one will be a real pain in the ass.
Second one being Iowa, or what do you mean?
Yeah. They said there's a a lot more math on that one, which I mean, like I said, they both have both Nebraska and Iowa both have a lot of math. It just it'll probably be a lot more difficult, the Iowa test. Everybody says it is, but Nebraska's test, they only have like a 24% pass rate on first attempt.
Really?
Yeah.
And people say Iowa's harder.
Yeah.
So do you have like if you were to fail the first time, is there a lag before you can take it again? And I'm assuming a cost to take it as well?
Yeah, you pay every time you take the test. I forget. I don't know what Iowa's is. Nebraska's was $60 a test. And then they make you pay for the license after you pass the test.
Of course.
Yeah, I know, right? So you want more money. But yeah, it'll be good. I'll get it.
So when's that test happen?
I still have to sign up for it. I've just been kind of lazy with all the COVID stuff going on. For my Nebraska test, I signed up all the way back in February, and then just finally took it in May. And then my Iowa, I have no idea when they're actually gonna fucking let me take it. I'm sure if I tried to sign up for it last night, but I'm not very computer savvy and somehow locked myself out of my account. So whoops.
Yeah. Forget a password.
Well, I was like, they made you set up an account, and then like something was wrong with my computer. Like I got the account set up, but immediately it wanted me to change my password, and I was like, okay, fine, whatever, I'll do that. Well, when I clicked the link, I don't know what happened, but my computer opened like 20 fucking windows of the link, and it like freaked the system out, and I got an email like a couple minutes later saying whatever.
Frozen or something.
Yeah, due to so many failed attempts, you've been locked out. And it's like, God damn it. So that was enough frustration for one night. I gave up.
They must have a really shitty website. I'm guessing you had where you click the link X amount of times and whatnot, and it just like wasn't opening anything.
Yeah, that's what it kept doing. Like it wouldn't open in the browser I was using. It kept opening Google Chrome down in the taskbar, and I wasn't noticing it.
Yeah.
What are you guys doing? Fucking computer problem solving here?
No, Jeff got a promotion. He's now a journeyman.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
a journeyman, but I can't use a computer.
Well, that's naturally, right?
Well, yeah, because computers run off electricity, so why would you know how to use one?
What if
No,
the files are electronic though? You know, you still have
I just bring the power. You guys got to figure the rest out.
But to look at the plans for the power,
Yeah.
the plans are on the electronics.
You'll have to print them off, and then I can do something.
All right. So that's what you guys were talking about. Congratulating Jeff on being a journeyman now.
Yeah, pretty much. We segued from Nikola Tesla into Jeff's electrifying career.
It was perfect. It was perfect.
No, I like that for sure. How many electricians know about Tesla?
A lot. Like that's actually how we got on the topic, because I was telling Derek that when I was in Denver, they talked about him a lot because he has that shop, or he did a lot of his work down in Colorado Springs. Yeah, whatever.
Or no, Wood
Whatever. It's whatever.
They always told us Colorado Springs, right outside Colorado Springs.
Yeah. Well, that's cool.
Yep.
So, do we want to segue?
God dang. Well, you know where he was going.
I do. I'm guessing he wants to talk about George Floyd.
Gregory Floyd, or is it George Floyd?
George.
All right. Yeah, I think that's where he was going. I mean, what's there to say about that hasn't already been said, right? Like, it's another instance of police brutality, or whatever you want to call it, that ended in an innocent. I mean, obviously, he broke the law in some context, but he definitely didn't deserve to lose his life on the pavement.
I don't think they've proven he did anything wrong actually yet.
I seen
I think yet, which connotates that it will be discovered, but I don't. From what I've read, somebody was suspected of passing off forged tender.
That's what I heard. Forgery.
And basically, they just saw him, and from what I read, I assumed it was him. But I want to share my screen real fast. And the tweet I got a screenshot of earlier. Let me know if you can see that.
I can't see shit.
All right, hang on. All right, how about now?
All I can see is your beautiful face.
No shit. All right, I'm going to read a tweet to you, and it's from the Mississippi mayor, Hal Marks. He
Okay.
was criticized for supporting police after George Floyd's death. This is his quote. I didn't see anything unreasonable. If you can talk, you can breathe.
Okay.
Even though he died.
Right.
Oxygen asphyxiation.
Right. I mean, the guy's knee is clearly on the back of his neck, and the other two guys are on the rest of his body.
I haven't watched the video. I don't think I want to. I've seen the picture of the guy with the knee on the neck.
Yeah, just like, I mean, I'm glad that those four guys are fired. I hope that it ends with them in jail. I mean,
Might be getting charged for murder.
or they should. I mean, at least one of them, like, I don't know, like I mean, they're all accomplices, right? Like if this was a burglary gone bad and they were, three guys were holding down one and he died while the other one was robbing him, all four of them would go to prison for murder.
Yeah.
But because they're cops, probably only one of them, if that, is going to get in trouble.
Well,
is this hat going to keep your internet on or what?
no.
I think the hats are ruining your internet.
Cock sucks. I have enough time to go switch out my hat before my internet comes on. So we're gonna deal with it and get new cock internet. I don't know what the fuck.
You need a new cock?
New cocks.
He needs multiple cocks.
Oh man.
I think those cops need some cocks, is what they need.
Yeah, they're about some prison cocks.
Yeah. They're not gonna go to prison though, right?
They should. The motherfucker. If the state that they did, if Minnesota's got the goddamn death penalty, put them to death.
Eye for an eye.
You murdered somebody while staring into a camera. Like, you're a real fucking demented person. Like, and this is not the first time that he's had this he's used force while on the job.
I think 12 documented incidences, and I think 10 of which were directly involved him.
Right.
It's too many.
Yeah.
19 years from the job. His own police chief even said that, yeah, that's unusually high. But he's also had a bunch of, what do they call them? Not condemnations.
Confrontations.
No, not confrontations. He's been awarded different valors, basically.
Accommodation. Accommodation, yeah.
So he's moved up. He's upgraded or whatever. Been promoted a couple of times.
Right. So I mean,
he'll get a desk job then.
He already got fired.
Bent over a desk.
Yeah, he's already been fired. But the way the police force works, he's fired, but then he'll go to arbitration and the union will back him and he'll probably get his job back. And if he doesn't get his job back, he'll definitely get a big chunk of money. Is everybody frozen?
No.
Oh.
No, it's I think that they got to come down hard and heavy. I mean, Trump's already come out and tweeted that he sent the FBI out to investigate this as well. Something's going to happen to the guy just because of that, which is probably his way of stealing black votes in his mind. But I think that after what happened was it Atlanta with the guy that was out jogging, and it
was in Georgia.
Construction. Like, we've had so many incidences, but that just happened. Not timeline wise, but when the videos came out and everything broke in the news, that was just 2 weeks ago.
Right.
Bad timing, buddy, but never a good time to do what he did.
Well, isn't Minnesota where that
Minnesota
guy
is like the South, basically. I heard some horrible stuff in Minnesota.
But wasn't that where that black guy that worked at a school as in the cafeteria got pulled over, and he had a concealed carry permit, told the cop about it, and then fucking the cop shot him like 4 times. Wasn't that Minnesota too?
I know what story you're talking about. I do not know if that was Minnesota.
I'm pretty fucking sure.
I know they had something with a Minnesota basketball player, professional on the Timberwolves, just I think 2 years ago, a year and a half ago. A star player. I don't remember which guy it was, but a well-known player. Late at night, he went to a gas station, doing nothing illegal, and he ended up going to jail.
Yeah, I mean,
basically, he had nothing on the guy. He was like, "I need to see, whatever he was asking the guy for," and he's like, "What did I do?" And the cop does the cop way of roundabout saying, "You don't have to do anything."
right,
I'm a cop, you do what I tell you to do.
right. No, fuck you. I have rights.
Yeah, yeah, and he ended up going to jail for the night, and he even told the cop. I don't know if there was video or not, but he told the cop supposedly like, "I'm so and so. What the fuck is going on?" And I don't know if the cop didn't believe him or not, but when he got to the station, everybody else was like, "Dude, what the fuck is going on?" And he got out.
You know what you're doing?
Yeah. Which is even makes it in a sense even worse, because at that point it's I'm just doing what I normally do. What the fuck? And these guys being like, "No, he's famous. You can't do that to him."
Right, right. But we all know about the two Americas, right? I mean, did you watch that 30 for 30 on OJ Simpson?
No.
It's great, man. They talk about this exact same thing in there, but but yeah, basically how like, once you accrue so much money, like the rules really don't apply like they used to, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Well, if you're famous enough, stuff's going to get exposed, which basically tells you, well, I know what I'm doing is wrong.
Well, not only that, but they have enough.
I can't be called out on it if you're famous, or if
Right.
you're not famous, I should say.
But the person also has enough money to take your ass to court, ruin you. Truck, that's Chase's hat.
Yeah, it is.
That's mine.
Yeah, right.
No, that's mine. It's my old school hat. It's Curry Seeds.
Oh yeah. So Derek, you were talking about that one in Georgia, but excuse me, COVID. There was another one.
So they're like every other fucking week.
It's like every other day. But
Yeah, really, honestly, it's probably every day.
More and more killing black men.
Just black people in general. This lady, and I forget what she did, but she was a public servant in some capacity. But the cops served a no-knock warrant and busted in the house, and her boyfriend or husband were sleeping at the time. And the boyfriend returned fire, and they killed that girl.
Jesus.
They shot them both up, didn't they?
Yeah, he lived though, and he's like,
the cop was off duty too, I believe.
That's
a whole different story. That's a whole nother story. But yeah, there was a warrant. They served. I can't even remember. I can't even remember.
Or somebody that didn't. They went to the wrong address. If they were in an apartment or whatever, they went to the wrong address, and they were sleeping in the bed, and they started banging on the door very briefly. "Hey, I'm going to knock twice, and if you don't answer, I'm blowing it down." And they're banging on the door. Dude gets out of bed. Door gets blown down, and he's got his gun on him. It's like, what the fuck? Like just watch somebody blow his door down and immediately goes to defend himself. And from what I read too, was they knew they were at the wrong address, but the guy wasn't home, or maybe this is fake information or not, but for something I had saw was that they had documented that they knew they weren't at the correct place, but they knew that these people had associated with this person, and associated being loosely applied, like, yeah, they were neighbors, that's their association. So we're going to this place, maybe he's there.
Mail for the person they were looking for had been delivered to that address. But still, yeah, a public servant murdered in her house. Like, it's crazy. Like, and it's hard to keep all the stories straight because it does happen so often. Fucking Lane in his trucker hat, frozen.
Yeah, well, who's policing the police? Because
No one.
and it's insane when you see these juxtaposed pictures online of the guys from Columbine and whatever other tragedies getting let out by police with bulletproof vest on, while somebody that's being suspected, not even confirmed, convicted of a minor infraction being murdered by police.
Yeah, did you see that meme about Dylan Roof?
Was he the one with the bulletproof vest on?
Yeah, he's a fucking asshole that shot up that black congregation in North or South Carolina.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but there was plenty of good people on both sides.
Yeah, I mean, of course. But I mean, like that's the thing, right? Is this dude is accused of fucking forgery and is murdered in the street. Dylan Roof actually kills 9 motherfuckers while they're worshiping God and gets escorted out in a bulletproof vest, not even a black eye. Like, come on.
Well, yeah, and but this George Floyd though, I don't even think it's been confirmed that he's done anything wrong.
Well, I know that, and I'm not advocating for Dylan Roof to be
Oh, yeah,
roughed
I'm not
up
saying that
or
at all, but
right. You know what I mean? But it's just I'm just showing the stark contrast.
yeah,
So
somebody that's suspected of forgery versus somebody that is, for all intents and purposes, confirmed murdered a bunch of people.
I mean, the guy admitted to it on at the murder scene. You know what I mean? Like, there's no investigation to be done.
Yeah.
so did you guys talk about the protests at all?
No, we skipped right over that. We should talk about it.
What do you think about it?
It's bullshit.
Yeah, the looting and starting fires in buildings is definitely bullshit.
Oh, I didn't know there was
I understand
looting.
the anger, but that's not helping anything.
They're looting in Minneapolis right now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
they were breaking the Target stores. It was a big one, and I think they set buildings on fire.
50 buildings. 50 buildings.
Holy fuck!
Yeah.
Yeah.
My mom lives 10 miles away from that. The George Floyd lived in my mom's neighborhood.
Really?
Yeah, St. Louis Park.
That's crazy.
Jesus. Well, some shit might be going down there real soon. So that's what I'm kind of curious about. Is we talked about censoring shit earlier. Like, how much of this is like getting stoked up by disinformation and stuff? You know?
I think that is people pissed off. Minnesota's had other riots here in the last year. Not quite this bad, but they've done other damage.
Like race
Because of
riots?
this type of stuff, minorities being murdered by the police.
Wow.
So it's not the first time. This is probably, to a degree, you can't blame people for reaching a breaking point. Although I think looting and arson isn't warranted, but at some point you gotta. What can you do? To get the attention that this deserves, and people's frustrations, at the very least, I think are justified. The actions they've taken maybe aren't, but the frustrations definitely.
Yeah. Protest, block streets and everything, or I don't know. Even blocking streets is kind of iffy.
Break some laws, but maybe don't torch stuff.
Yeah,
All
don't
you-
cause
all you- Yeah, go ahead.
harm to anyone else or other one's property.
All you're doing by burning those buildings and doing all that stuff is dividing the community even more.
Yeah, and I mean, to say it out loud, you're hurting a stereotype.
For real. I mean, they're all criminals anyways, right? Look at what they did to our city. Who cares what happens?
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah. But
I think a lot of people that do that though are just people that are trying to take advantage of a situation.
I completely agree. I seen this post on Reddit the other day. It was it was the top picture was the Minnesota or sorry, the Michigan protests where they stormed the Capitol with guns and everything, and they're shouting in the police's face, and those dudes aren't even flinching. And then they showed a picture of Minneapolis when the rioters or protesters, however you want to say it, are being tear gassed and rubber bulleted. And it, the post was about, I bet if, whatever, the people in Michigan were black, it'd be a different story. And it's like, when you look at the picture, all the police in that bottom picture from Minnesota, they all have dark skin. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know that it's a race thing exactly. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's a training thing a
I
lot.
don't think it's a race thing. I mean, there wasn't. I saw pictures of white people fucking going into Target and taking bullshit too, but
It's class. It's poor people.
it's just people fucking taking advantage of a shitty situation
Right.
to benefit themselves.
Mob mentality.
Yep. Swept up into it. Oh, they're taking a TV from Target. Well, you know what? I need to need some new speakers. So.
Yeah. I mean, I ain't gonna lie. If people around me were looting and the store's already broke into, I'll probably get some.
Really?
I mean, why not?
I don't think I would.
So that's the
plenty
thing.
of opportunities to cheat on stuff, and I've never really. I've never done it, but I don't know. I can't bring myself to do stuff like that.
Like the riot is over. You're driving by and there's just like, the glass doors are all broken and shattered. You can see stuff is still inside, but the riot's over. You don't pull into the parking lot and pick something out.
No, because at that time there's probably somebody hiding in there with a gun.
See, Jeff's already thought about why he wouldn't do it at that point. I don't know.
That's
too late.
I'll fucking do something like that.
You don't go in by yourself.
No, you got to do it when there's a bunch of people around, because you know what? You know the old saying is you don't have to be the fastest, you just can't be the slowest.
Yeah, they can't catch us all,
Right.
Jesus.
Hey, I gotta dip out real fast. I'll be right back in 1 minute.
Okay. See ya.
Oh God, I hope Lane's internet doesn't cut out.
No, dude, you'll be fine. I think I closed a bunch of tabs on my screen, and I think that might have helped out. So.
And I shut my video off, so maybe that's helping you a little bit too.
No, I doubt it. That's the thing. The stream keeps going because it's not on my internet. It's just on the internet. It's not me.
You're not hosting.
Yeah, if I was hosting it, it would have been done a long time ago.
Yeah.
So. Anyway, how does this end?
How does what end?
The riots and the just cops killing men,
It's never going to end. I mean,
there's got to be a steps to take away from this, right?
Yeah, I mean, but I think it starts with training. And I mean, a lot of this is like ingrained in the force, right? Where it's us against everybody and we're the absolute authority and that kind of stuff.
But who watches the watchers,
Well, and that's the thing. I think Obama was president, you've seen some pushback on this kind of stuff. Like, we're trying to reform this shit. Like, little by little. It wasn't major steps, but every little tiny step they took, like, there was such a reaction from the right. You know what I mean? Like, oh, we're degrading the police force. They don't want to do their jobs anymore because they're all so low. And then in fucking 4 years later, Trump's in office, fucking questioning the, national security agencies, like the FBI, the CIA. It's crazy.
Well, it's right foot forward, left foot, it's just back and forth, essentially.
But that's what I mean. Like, I think that's why it's so hard to go forward, because nobody actually wants to go forward. I mean, I shouldn't say nobody, but I think there's just a lot of bad faith actors out there that don't actually want to make things better because us being divided puts money in their pocket and keeps them in power.
Yeah, that is true. That's why the free energy isn't out there, like Derek was talking about too.
Yeah.
Someone's got.
Oh no. Am I the only one on here now? This is bad, everybody. Oh no. Hey, everybody. Hopefully Lane will be back soon. We're gonna take a little.
Jeff, no one's there. You're muted. Everyone's gone.
Yeah, I did a little. I said we'll be right back.
Oh, you took a little break. All right.
Hey, can you guys see me, hear me?
Yeah, you're back, Derek.
All right. Yeah, I was on, Jeff, and you were gone, but I don't think it was picking up my video.
No, I couldn't see you.
I think I clicked on you, Derek, right when I was dropping out or whatever, so might have gotten half of. Oh, Emily wanted you to tell us a story. Now you have to.
No, I'm good.
Tell us the story about when you pierced your nipple.
No, tell us the story about when you eat shit pudding.
Yeah.
I wasn't there. Shit pudding? No, I don't know that story. I know this other
movie the other night, Lane.
I know this one story. We were at Lane's house drinking, and we were playing some stupid game where you had to I was probably fuck the dealer or something. But Lane chugged like 6 beers in maybe 30 minutes. He was fucking wasted.
Yeah.
And he was eating fish sticks at the same time. And this motherfucker he took his last swig of beer.
Derek knows.
Fucking projectile vomit across the room. Chewed up fish sticks all in his beard. And it was huge at that time. Like that
was it his freshman year of college when he grew it out real big?
Yeah. It was. Yeah, because he
told me
come
about
home
that.
for the weekend. It was awesome.
I think you still had fish sticks in your beard when he told me the story.
Well, I'm not gonna wash them out,
It was gross.
That was a good time. That's why I don't eat fish sticks anymore.
That was it, huh? Last time?
Yeah, I can't remember eating fish sticks ever again, honestly. Thanks, Emily.
You don't eat fish sticks?
No, I don't eat fish sticks. So great. Anything else we need to trash talk?
No, it was a pretty good session.
Yeah, definitely. I wish my internet was working better.
Yeah.
I think I had too many Yahoo articles pulled up, Derek.
Why do you gotta tell me that?
Because you had like 5 of them in the dock.
Close the window when you're done.
Yeah, I should have. Well, I didn't know what we were gonna get to.
You born in a barn? Close the window.
Yeah, dude. I was born in Schuyler, so of course.
Internet.
Schuyler Hospital's a barn. Well, that's been Trash Talk Omaha. Again, thanks, Jeff.
You're welcome.
Not just from the lovely Emily, but from Derek and I for standing in for Chase, I guess, essentially tonight. I don't know where the fuck that guy is.
Who knows?
Should we talk shit on him while he's not here?
No, that's good.
Yeah, we can. He's probably out metal detecting, honestly.
He's probably getting tested for STDs right now.
Well, maybe he has COVID.
No, he doesn't.
He probably believes he'll spread it to us over the internet. It's a virus.
Well, if he has COVID, then Jeff, you have COVID because I watched you guys make out.
Oh no, that was weeks ago.
He was asymptomatic at the time.
What? You were making out with his butt though yesterday.
Well, I don't think you get it that way.
Yeah. I don't think it's transferred to the anus.
No.
Cool.
No, it can be. Guano.
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 Yeah,
Wuhan.
you can get it from guano, but not human guano.
Oh, you know that for sure. You're
No.
going to get it censored again.
Shit. Well, this whole podcast has been censored. That's why my internet's been gone out.
It's just fucking Mark Zuckerberg. Click, 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 click. Turn it off.
I don't think so. I think those conspiracy videos have been putting cookies on your shit and bogging it down.
No, I don't watch them on this video or on this computer.
You watch it on your porn computer?
Hey,
No, I watch all the gate stuff
cookies are
about.
shared across your login to a browser. So if you got like a Gmail account,
No, I don't even log in on those computers. I have
bullshit.
I have a conspiracy computer. You got a porn computer, obviously. You got the podcast computer.
I can't open the window to the porn computer anymore, but it's there.
It still exists.
So what's the purpose for all the computers?
I don't want things to transfer. I don't want things that look up on this podcast going to my personal computer than on my phone all the time,
Can't
you
use the work computer?
No, I got a different computer for it.
What if you used a VPN? Would that fix that?
Yeah, probably. I probably need to get a whole new router and gateway altogether with a VPN, a virtual VPN, so I wouldn't even need an actual hardware. But
yeah.
Thanks for bringing it up, Jeff. I'd like to get a VPN sponsor. So if you're out there, VPN people, look us up.
VPN.
Email us at trashtalkomaha@gmail.com. And any listeners, go ahead and send us an email, question, comment.
Tell us how much Grape sucks for not showing up tonight.
Yeah, exactly. Vicky, go ahead and send us an email. We know you love us.
Picture or two.
Yeah. All right, Jeff, thanks again for joining us on a work night. Congratulations again with your journey in.
Thank you.
Derek, thank you for wearing the Hendrix shirt on the podcast with your boot in the background. Really appreciate it.
Working on that.
And on the count of three.
Oh.
On the count of what?
1, 2, 3.
Good night, Omaha.
Later.
Trashy.